This story begins in a manor house of a nobleman in Nottingham, England. At that time, a female thief was entering a horse stable, but her action was discovered by a young man named Robin Locksley, who was the noble owner of the manor. The woman explained that she wanted to steal a horse for her neighbor because her neighbor's horse had died. The horse would be used by her neighbor to plow the field and support her family. Robin seemed to fall in love with the thief, who introduced herself as Marion. Robin allowed Marion to take his horse, and their days were filled with a romantic love story, until one day Robin received a letter from the Sheriff of Nottingham ordering him to join the Third Crusade, which forced Robin to part with Marion. The scene shifts to 4 years later, when Robin was fighting in the Crusades in Arabia. At that time, he was assigned by his commander named Guy Gisborne to ambush archers in a tower. He went with his friend named Clayton. When he managed to kill the archer in the tower, Robin returned to his friend, but his friend was no longer there. His friend had been taken by Arab soldiers. When Robin and his comrades tried to chase them, they were attacked by Arab forces. Robin dueled with one of the Arab soldiers until the Arab soldier's hand was cut off by Robin's friend and brought back to the camp. In the camp, Robin saw the captured Arab soldiers being treated inhumanely by the English forces, with some being brutally killed. Robin tried to warn Gisborne because they were all unarmed prisoners, but Gisborne felt his actions were justified until he was about to kill a young soldier who turned out to be the son of the Arab soldier Robin had dueled with. The soldier begged Gisborne to release his son and promised to reveal all the information he knew, but Gisborne still ordered the boy's execution. Robin, knowing this, tried to prevent it but failed until he was shot with an arrow and sent back to England. In his critical moments, Robin remembered his memories with Marion. Unbeknownst to him, the Arab soldier whose son was killed sneaked onto the ship and tried to follow Robin to England. When he arrived in England, Robin returned to his manor. He found that his manor had been seized by the Sheriff of Nottingham and all his possessions taken. He tried to enter to find Marion, but the manor seemed to have been abandoned for a long time. Not finding Marion, Robin then went to the church to meet his friend Friar Tuck and ask about Marion. Tuck was shocked by Robin's return. Tuck explained to Robin that the sheriff had announced his death 2 years ago, took his manor, and expelled Marion. The sheriff also rendered them powerless and forced them to go to the mines. Robin went to the mines and found Marion there. Robin saw many people living in poverty and hunger. Robin finally saw Marion, but Marion seemed happy with a man named Will. Robin then left with a heart shattered into pieces and felt desperate. The Arab soldier who had followed Robin came to him and asked him to do something to stop the war. The Arab soldier believed Robin was the right person to do this since he saw how Robin tried to prevent his son from being killed, although he failed. The scene shifts to the Sheriff of Nottingham, who is giving a speech and spreading propaganda under the pretext of funding the Crusades in Arabia. He extorted his people to pay exorbitant taxes. The people there, including Will and Marion, tried to protest the policies set by the sheriff. Then the nobles were asked to vote. Friar Tuck, who was Robin's friend and a priest, asked to postpone the vote because Robin Locksley's vote also had to be counted since he was still alive. Everyone, including the sheriff and Marion, seemed surprised to learn that Robin was still alive. Robin, witnessing this, felt upset because the sheriff had oppressed his people. Robin planned to overthrow him, but it seemed impossible. The Arab soldier explained that the sheriff could hold power because he had money extorted from his people to fund the Crusades. Therefore, he suggested stealing the money that would be used for the war expenses. Then they introduced themselves. The Arab soldier was named Yahya bin Umar, but because Robin had difficulty pronouncing his name, he allowed Robin to call him John. They then planned what they would do at the manor. Suddenly, Marion came to see Robin, but John forbade Robin from meeting her because what they were going to do was very dangerous. If they were caught, they would all be killed, including Marion. They trained very hard. Robin continued to hone his skills. John also told Robin that he had to meet the sheriff like a noble, who would donate his wealth for the war effort. Robin had to pretend to be friendly to the sheriff to find out all his plans and the mastermind behind all this. They decided to act by stealing the money collected from the forcibly collected taxes from the people of Nottingham. Robin, who was wearing a mask, easily subdued the guards and took the money. The next day, Robin came to meet the sheriff, who seemed surprised by his presence. Robin gave some money to the sheriff and pretended to agree with his policies. Even in the church, Robin embarrassed all the other nobles with his generosity to gain the sheriff's attention. At that time, Marion also approached Robin, but John called Robin to stay away from Marion. They acted again by robbing the sheriff's money. This time he gave the money to Marion. The sheriff, who received a report that his money had been robbed, began to feel annoyed. Robin robbed again, and this time he distributed the money to the poor and began to gain attention from the people. On one hand, Robin also had to pretend to be good in front of the sheriff to smooth his plan, and it seemed that the sheriff had begun to trust Robin. As Robin was leaving, Will tried to approach him. Robin knew Will was also trying to defend the rights of the people, but Will was not interested in what the thief, or Hood as he was commonly called, was doing. Therefore, Robin planned to rob the treasury where all of the Sheriff of Nottingham's wealth was stored, intending to gain attention from the cardinal and the wider community. Although he realized it was a tough target, the next day, Robin and John began their operation. They managed to deceive the guards, allowing Robin to enter the treasury. However, unfortunately, Robin's action was discovered, and he tried to escape. Robin fought off all the guards trying to capture him, until he finally jumped onto the carriage driven by John and fled. Although they did not get any money from this operation, they gained attention and support from the people who disliked the sheriff's leadership. The sheriff received a reprimand from his superiors at the church. He was also informed that the money theft had caught the attention of a cardinal who would come directly from Rome. It turned out that the sheriff had also called for special forces to catch Hood, led by Commander Gisborne, who was Robin's comrade during the Crusades. John was very excited to know the cardinal would come from Rome because of their actions. He asked Robin to listen to what the cardinal would say to the sheriff. Meanwhile, Marion and Tuck also had their own plans to enter the castle. The lavish party to welcome the cardinal arrived. The event was attended by nobles and, of course, Robin. Robin was surprised to see Gisborne, who was assigned to catch Hood, but he remained friendly to Gisborne and tried to conceal his identity. At the event, Robin also met Marion and Tuck, who stole a key from an official. Marion used the key to search for documents about the money that the sheriff had been sending under the pretext of funding the Crusades. When the sheriff and the cardinal entered a closed room, Robin tried to follow but couldn't get in. He eventually found a way to enter by framing Tuck for stealing the key. Unexpectedly, the cardinal ordered Tuck's execution, but Robin managed to prevent it, arguing that death was too light a punishment. He suggested stripping Tuck of his priest status and banishing him from the church. Eventually, Robin gained full trust from the sheriff and the cardinal. There, Robin discovered that the money collected was being sent to the enemy to defeat the English forces, allowing the sheriff and the cardinal to quickly seize control of England. The sheriff also planned to send troops to the mines to seize all the people's wealth to be sent to Arabia as soon as possible. That night, the sheriff sent all his troops to the mines to seize the people's wealth and burn their homes. Robin and John also went there to fight the sheriff's troops, who were very numerous. He saw Marion being captured by the sheriff's men. Robin and John tried to save her, and they were chased by the sheriff's forces led by Gisborne. There, Marion finally learned that Hood was Robin. After a long chase, John was eventually captured while protecting Robin and Marion. At that moment, Robin felt hopeless, but Marion convinced him that his actions had inspired the people to fight against the sheriff. The sheriff forced John to reveal who Hood really was. He also reminded him of his son's death, who was beheaded to break John's spirit. This made John very angry, and he threatened the sheriff, saying he would kill him soon. After the incident at the mine the previous night, Will asked all the people to follow him and leave that place, but some people refused and were determined to fight if the sheriff's forces came back. Will convinced everyone that they would never win against the sheriff's forces until Robin arrived and revealed his true identity. Robin told the people that the sheriff and the cardinal were working together to overthrow the English forces so they could take control of England. He called on everyone to unite against the tyranny of the Sheriff of Nottingham. He also invited Will to join him. Robin, Marion, Will, and Tuck then started planning to stop the shipment of money the sheriff was sending to Arabia. They involved all the people to launch an attack on the sheriff's convoy. The day of the money shipment arrived. The sheriff's convoy was tightly guarded by all the soldiers. Meanwhile, John managed to escape from captivity. All the people, led by Will, were ready to attack the sheriff's convoy. Meanwhile, Robin, Marion, and the others were tasked with taking the money from the carriage. The sheriff tried to stop them and managed to wound Robin. As Marion was about to pull out the arrow lodged in Robin's chest, she kissed him to distract him, which was seen by Will, leaving him heartbroken. Gisborne managed to get in and tried to attack Robin, but Robin defeated him. Robin and Marion then decided to go back and find Will. There, Robin couldn't bear to see the people being beaten by the sheriff's men. Therefore, he decided to surrender to stop the bloodshed. When captured by the sheriff, Robin realized that one of the guards was John, seeing his severed left hand. John immediately attacked all the guards and killed the sheriff. After that, they went to the forest to meet Marion and the others who had taken the loot. At the end of the movie, Will was appointed by the cardinal as the sheriff and vowed to capture Robin Hood as soon as possible. And the movie ends. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. Because by subscribing, you have supported me to make better videos. See you in the next video.